Hello guys, welcome to Fictional Vortex. So in this video, we will see what if Naruto was born as a royal devil with satanic power. Naruto x Serafall x Grayfia, DxD. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to show us some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's start the story. Chapter 1. Crimson Awakening. The Valley of the End shook as Naruto's Rasengan collided with Sasuke's Chidori. Lightning and wind chakra spiraled in a violent maelstrom, tearing at the fabric of reality itself. This ends now, Sasuke. Naruto shouted over the deafening roar of their clashing techniques. Sasuke's Sharingan eyes narrowed. You've never understood what it means to lose everything. Something strange happened then. As their chakras battled for dominance, Naruto felt a burning sensation in his blood, different from the Nine-Tails' power. His vision flashed crimson, not the familiar orange of Kurama's chakra. What the? Naruto's words cut off as pain lanced through his body. The spiral pattern of his Rasengan suddenly shifted, black energy crackling along its edges. What are you doing? Sasuke's eyes widened in genuine surprise. I'm not. Naruto couldn't finish. The space between them fractured like broken glass, reality itself seeming to tear apart. Kurama's voice thundered in his mind. Kid! Something's wrong with your chakra. The last thing Naruto saw was Sasuke being thrown backward by the explosion before darkness swallowed him whole. When Naruto opened his eyes, he wasn't in the Valley of the End anymore. Wasn't even outdoors. He stood in the middle of an enormous marble hall with towering columns and a ceiling that seemed impossibly high. Chandeliers made of what looked like floating fire illuminated the space, casting everything in a warm glow that somehow felt alien. And he was surrounded by people. Strange people. Unexpected breach in our security, a voice was saying. Naruto blinked. Everyone was staring at him. Dozens of elegantly dressed men and women in what looked like some kind of formal gathering. But something was off about them. Their auras felt wrong. Powerful, but unlike chakra. Where am I? Naruto asked, instinctively reaching for a kunai. That simple movement triggered an immediate response. Several figures moved with inhuman speed, red magic circles appearing in front of their hands. Intruder! Protect Lord Serafall, someone shouted. Naruto's combat instincts kicked in. He formed a shadow clone seal, and instantly 10 perfect copies of himself surrounded him in defensive formation. The crowd gasped. One man with long crimson hair raised his hand, stopping the others from attacking. Interesting, he said, studying Naruto with piercing eyes. That's not devil magic. Devil what? Naruto's clones spoke in perfect unison, each holding a defensive stance. A blue magic circle formed beneath Naruto's feet, trapping him in place. He tried to jump, but his body wouldn't respond. Binding spell, explained a cold female voice. A silver-haired woman in a maid outfit approached, her eyes calculating and dangerous. Don't struggle or it will constrict further. Look, Naruto said, dispelling his clones with a puff of smoke, I don't know what's going on. I was fighting my friend Sasuke, there was this weird explosion, and now I'm here. Wherever here is. The red-headed man approached carefully. You've appeared in the middle of a gathering of the 4 great Satans and devil nobility. I am Serafall Lucifer. Naruto blinked. Satan. Like, the devil. That's just a myth. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some looked offended, others amused. Wait. A cheerful feminine voice cut through the tension. Everyone calm down. A black-haired woman in what looked like some kind of magical girl costume bounced forward, twirling a staff with a comically oversized star on the end. Despite her playful appearance, Naruto could sense tremendous power radiating from her. I'm Serafall Leviathan, she announced with a wink and a pose. That reminded Naruto uncomfortably of Might Guy. And you're super interesting, Whisker Face. Serafall, the silver-haired maid said sternly, this is a security breach, not an entertainment. Oh hush, Grayfia. Serafall waved dismissively. Can't you feel it? His energy signature is weird. Not human, not devil, but something else entirely. And, her eyes widened as she leaned closer to Naruto, there's something else inside him too. Something big and grumpy. Naruto felt Kurama stir within him. The fox says he doesn't appreciate being called grumpy, he muttered without thinking. Everyone tensed again. He has a familiar speaking to him, someone whispered. More like a sacred gear, another suggested. Serafall raised his hand again. Release the binding spell, Grayfia. I think our guest deserves a chance to explain himself. The silver-haired maid, Grayfia, looked like she wanted to object but nodded. The circle beneath Naruto vanished. Thanks, Naruto said, rolling his shoulders. Look, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, ninja from Konohagakure. I don't know what devils or satans are, but I'm just trying to figure out how to get home. A ninja? Serafall clapped her hands. That's so cool. Do you have shurikens? Can you walk on water? Ooh, can you disappear in a puff of smoke? Despite himself, Naruto grinned. Actually, yeah, to all of those. Serafall studied him intently. There's something familiar about your energy signature. It feels almost like, whatever he was about to say was interrupted by a massive explosion that rocked the building. Chunks of marble rained down from the ceiling as everyone looked up in alarm. We're under attack, someone shouted. Black-robed figures poured through the new opening in the ceiling, magic circles blazing at their fingertips as they descended. The old Satan faction, Grayfia hissed, instantly at Serafall's side. They must have been planning this for months. Naruto didn't understand the politics, but he recognized an ambush when he saw one. And despite his confusion, he wasn't about to stand by while people got hurt. Shadow Clone Jutsu, he shouted, forming dozens of clones that immediately launched themselves at the attackers. The devils around him stared in shock as perfect copies of Naruto engaged the intruders. That's not illusion magic, Grayfia observed with narrowed eyes. Those are physical duplicates. Serafall giggled. Told you he was interesting. One of the attackers managed to slip past Naruto's clones and aimed a blast of dark energy directly at a group of younger devils. Without hesitation, Naruto flashed through hand signs. Wind style, wind wall. A barrier of swirling air deflected the attack, sending it crashing into a column instead. Serafall's eyes widened. Elemental manipulation without magic circles. The battle escalated quickly. The attackers were clearly after someone specific, pushing toward Serafall and the other important-looking devils. Naruto found himself fighting alongside Grayfia and Serafall, the three of them forming an impromptu team. Grayfia moved with deadly precision, her ice magic freezing enemies mid-attack. Serafall, despite her playful demeanor, commanded devastating water and ice powers that transformed entire sections of the hall into frozen statues. Naruto kept pace with both of them, using his shadow clones and Rasengan to great effect. Yet as the battle intensified, he felt that strange burning in his blood again. Something's wrong, he muttered, feeling his chakra fluctuating wildly. Kurama's voice rumbled within him. Kid, your chakra is reacting to something in this place. It's like it's resonating with the energy here. A massive enemy devil, clearly stronger than the others, broke through their defenses and charged directly at Serafall, who was protecting a group of younger devils. Naruto moved without thinking, throwing himself into the path of the attack. As the enemy's fist connected with his crossed arms, that burning sensation exploded through his body. Arg! Naruto screamed as crimson energy erupted. From his skin, not Kurama's chakra, but something else, darker, more primal. The force of the energy blast threw the attacker across the hall, smashing him through multiple columns. Everyone froze, staring at Naruto. His body was now outlined in flickering crimson energy, similar to but distinct from his Nine-Tails cloak. His eyes had changed too, still blue, but with slitted pupils surrounded by a red glow. What the hell? Naruto looked at his hands, watching as the strange energy danced across his skin like living flame. Serafall bounced excitedly. I knew it. I knew there was something special about you. The remaining attackers, seeing this display of power, began retreating. The one Naruto had blasted struggled to his feet, his face a mask of fear. Impossible, the attacker gasped. That power, it feels like the original, he never finished. Grayfia appeared behind him in a flash, encasing him in ice. As the battle ended, Naruto felt the strange energy receding, leaving him exhausted and confused. He dropped to one knee, breathing heavily. Okay, he said between breaths, will someone please tell me what just happened? They moved to a secure chamber deeper in the building after the attack. Guards took away the captured attackers, while devil healers attended to the injured. Naruto found himself seated at a large round table with Serafall, Grayfia, and several other important-looking devils. First, Serafall said, I must thank you for your assistance. Your intervention likely saved lives today. Naruto shrugged. I couldn't just stand there. But seriously, where am I? What are devils? And what was that red energy coming from me? A green-haired man with glasses spoke up. You truly don't know what devils are. Or that you appear to possess devil power yourself. I told you, where I'm from, devils are just stories to scare children, Naruto insisted. I'm a ninja from the Hidden Leaf Village. My power comes from chakra, and... He hesitated, a nine-tailed fox sealed inside me. That caused another stir around the table. A tailed beast? Serafall leaned forward, suddenly serious. Like the yokai of Japan? I don't know what yokai are either, Naruto admitted. Look, I just want to get home. Serafall exchanged glances with the others. I believe you're from another world entirely, Naruto Uzumaki. The dimensional barriers have been weakening lately, we've had reports of strange phenomena. But your appearance is the most significant breach yet. Naruto's eyes widened. Another world? Like, not just another country. Another reality, Grayfia clarified, her voice cool but no longer hostile. And based on what we witnessed today, you may have more connection to our world than you realize. Serafall nodded. The power you displayed wasn't just chakra as you call it. It was unmistakably devil energy, specifically, power that resonates with the original Lucifer bloodline. Naruto blinked. I don't understand. It means, Serafall said, bouncing in her seat, that somewhere in your family tree, you're related to the original Devil King. That's why you could access devil powers even though you're from another world. But that's impossible, Naruto protested. My parents were Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. They were human. As far as they knew, Serafall suggested gently. Have there been unexplained incidents in your past? Times when strange things happened that your chakra couldn't explain? Naruto fell silent, memories flooding back. 7-year-old Naruto cowered in an alley as the villagers approached with hateful eyes. Demon brat, one spat. Let's finish what the fourth started. Fear gripped Naruto's heart, but alongside it rose something else, rage. As a villager grabbed his arm, Naruto's eyes flashed red for an instant. The man screamed, dropping to his knees as though burned, a handprint seared into his skin. The third Hokage later told him it was the Ninetales chakra protecting him. Naruto had always accepted that explanation. 13-year-old Naruto lay dying on the bridge in the land of waves, Haku's Senbon piercing his body. As darkness closed in, he heard not just Kurama's voice but something else, a whisper from even deeper within, not yet, child of Crimson Night. He dismissed it as delirium. Naruto looked up, finding everyone at the table watching him intently. There were incidents, he admitted slowly. Things even the Ninetales couldn't explain. Serafall nodded as though confirming a theory. The original Lucifer disappeared centuries ago. Many believed he died, but others theorized he had found a way to travel between dimensions. If he established a bloodline in your world. You're saying I'm part devil? Naruto's voice rose in disbelief. More than part, Grayfia stated flatly. Your power signature when activated was unmistakable. You carry the blood of the original Mao. Which makes you devil royalty. Serafall added with a grin. Kind of like us. We're the new Satan Lords, but you've got the OG bloodline. Naruto stood abruptly, his chair scraping back. This is crazy. I need some air. To his surprise, no one tried to stop him as he walked toward the balcony doors. Grayfia did follow at a respectful distance, clearly still not trusting him completely. Outside, Naruto leaned on the stone railing, staring out at a landscape that confirmed he was definitely not in his world anymore. The sky glowed a deep purple, and what looked like floating islands dotted the horizon. Below sprawled a vast city of Gothic architecture, illuminated by lights that weren't fire or electricity but some kind of magic. The underworld, Grayfia said, coming to stand beside him. Home of devils and other supernatural beings. It's beautiful, Naruto admitted. In a weird way. You handled yourself well in the battle, she observed. Your clones are an interesting ability. Naruto grinned despite himself. Standard ninja technique where I'm from. Well, not standard exactly, I'm kind of awesome at it. The corner of Grayfia's mouth twitched slightly. Indeed. Your modesty is also quite remarkable. Did you just make a joke? Naruto turned to her in mock surprise. I have been known to, on rare occasions, she replied, her expression unchanged but her eyes slightly warmer. They stood in surprisingly comfortable silence for a moment before Grayfia spoke again. If you truly possess the bloodline of the original Lucifer, you'll need to learn to control it. Devil power is different from your chakra, more emotional, more primal. I'm pretty good with primal power, Naruto said, thinking of Kurama. But I don't even know how to access it deliberately. That can be taught, she assured him. Though your case is unprecedented. The balcony doors opened again, and Serafall bounded out, followed by a more reserved Serzex. We've been discussing your situation, Serzex said. And we have a proposal. I'm going to be your teacher. Serafall announced, striking another magical girl pose. Isn't that exciting? Grayfia sighed. What Lord Serzex means is that we would like to help you understand your devil powers while we investigate ways to return you to your world. And in return? Naruto asked skeptically. Serzex smiled. Your assistance with certain matters would be appreciated. The attack today wasn't random. The old Satan faction has been growing bolder, and having someone with your unique abilities as an ally would be valuable. Plus, Serafall added, you'd get to hang out with me. And learn super cool devil magic. Despite everything, Naruto found himself smiling. These people were strange, but they didn't feel malicious. And if he really did have some kind of devil blood, learning to control it was probably smart. Alright, he agreed. But finding a way home is the priority. Agreed, Serzex nodded. Grayfia will arrange suitable accommodations for you. And perhaps tomorrow you can tell us more about this ninja world of yours. As they returned inside, a commotion near the main doors caught their attention. A handsome blonde man with an arrogant expression was arguing with the guards. I don't care about security protocols. When I heard Serzex himself was attacked, I came immediately. The House of Phoenix demands entrance. Serzex sighed. Riser Phoenix. Always dramatic. The blonde man spotted them and pushed past the guards. Lord Serzex. Are you unharmed? We heard the old Satan faction launched a direct assault and, his eyes landed on Naruto, narrowing instantly. Who is this? Riser, Serzex nodded in greeting. This is Naruto Uzumaki, a visitor who helped repel the attack. Riser circled Naruto, studying him with undisguised suspicion. I sense unusual power in him. Not pure devil, but something mixed. His nose wrinkled. And he dresses like a commoner. Hey! Naruto objected. These are standard ninja clothes where I'm from. Ninja? Riser scoffed. You expect me to believe this orange eyesore is a ninja? Believe it. Naruto shot back, falling into his old catchphrase without thinking. Serafall giggled. He's actually super strong, Riser. You should have seen him make like 50 copies of himself. Riser's eyes widened slightly before his arrogant mask returned. Parlor tricks. If he were truly powerful, I would have heard of him. He's not from our world, Grayfia stated flatly. Ah, Riser nodded as though that explained everything. Another stray brought in. Well, Lord Serafall has always had a soft spot for collecting unusual specimens. Naruto felt his temper rising. I'm not a specimen or a stray. And where I'm from, people who talk like you usually get their asses kicked. Riser's expression darkened, flames flickering to life around his hands. Is that a threat, outsider? Enough, Serafall said firmly. Riser, Naruto is a guest here. He displayed considerable power against our attackers and may be descended from devil nobility. What nobility? Riser demanded. Serafall hesitated, but Serafall had no such reservations. The original Lucifer, she announced cheerfully. Absolute silence fell. Riser's flames extinguished in his shock. Impossible, he whispered, staring at Naruto with new eyes. The Lucifer bloodline died out centuries ago. Apparently not, Grayfia replied. Though verification will require testing. Riser's attitude shifted immediately, becoming calculatingly respectful. If that's true, then I apologize for my rudeness. The House of Phoenix would welcome an alliance with such a distinguished bloodline. Naruto wasn't fooled by the sudden change. Yeah, well, I'm not really interested in alliances right now. Just figuring out how to control these powers and get home. Perhaps a demonstration, Riser suggested, his smile not reaching his eyes. A friendly spar to help. You understand your abilities. Riser, Serafall warned. Just a training match, Riser insisted innocently. If he truly has Lucifer's blood, he should be eager to test his powers. Unless he's afraid. Naruto grinned dangerously. I'm never afraid of a fight. They moved to a large training arena beneath the main building. Word had spread quickly, and a small audience of curious devils gathered in the viewing areas. This is a bad idea, Grayfia murmured as Naruto stretched on one side of the arena. It's a perfect idea. Serafall countered. Naruto needs to understand his powers, and nothing brings them out like a good fight. Serafall watched thoughtfully. Riser is arrogant but powerful. His immortality makes him an ideal sparring partner, difficult to defeat but unlikely to be seriously harmed. On the arena floor, Riser removed his jacket, flames dancing around his body. I'll try not to damage you permanently, outsider. Just enough to help you access those powers you supposedly have. Naruto rolled his shoulders. Don't worry about me. Worry about yourself. Grayfia stepped between them. This match will continue until one party surrenders or I determine it should end. Begin. She stepped back, and Riser immediately launched forward, his fist wreathed in flame. Naruto sidestepped easily, years of ninja training making Riser's attack seem almost slow. He countered with a kick that caught Riser in the side, sending him stumbling. Lucky, Riser growled, recovering quickly. He spread his arms, and wings of fire erupted from his back. But luck won't save you from this. A torrent of flames engulfed the arena where Naruto stood. Too easy, Riser smirked. You sure about that? Naruto's voice came from behind him. Riser whirled to find Naruto completely unharmed, standing casually with his hands in his pockets. Substitution jutsu, Naruto explained with a grin. Basic ninja stuff. In the stands, Serafall clapped. So cool. Riser's expression darkened. Tricks and evasions. Show me real power, if you have any. This time, Riser attacked more cautiously, creating a ring of fire around Naruto to limit his movement before sending in precise fireballs from multiple angles. Naruto formed a familiar cross seal. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 10 clones appeared, each dashing in different directions, confusing Riser's targeting. The real Naruto leapt high, forming a swirling blue sphere in his hand. Rasengan. He drove the technique into the ground where Riser stood, the devil barely avoiding the attack. The floor of the arena cracked in a perfect spiral pattern. Fascinating, Serzex commented. That's not devil magic or demonic power. It's something entirely different. Riser recovered, genuine anger now visible on his face. Enough games. Fire erupted around his entire body, the temperature in the arena rising dramatically. Feel the immortal flame of the Phoenix clan. The inferno that followed was far more intense than his previous attacks. Naruto and his remaining clones were engulfed completely. When the flames cleared, Naruto stood alone, his jacket burned away and parts of his skin scorched. But he was grinning. That actually hurt a bit, he admitted. Now it's my turn. Naruto closed his eyes, reaching for his chakra. But instead of the familiar blue energy or even Kurama's orange power, he tried to find that crimson force he'd felt during the attack. Come on, he muttered. I know you're in there. Riser didn't wait, launching another devastating fire attack. Just as the flames were about to hit, Naruto's eyes snapped open, blue irises now ringed with glowing red. The fire parted around him, unable to touch the crimson aura that had sprung to life around his body. There it is, Serafall whispered excitedly. The crimson energy swirled around Naruto, not as intense as during the battle earlier but more controlled. Black markings appeared on his skin, similar to the seal patterns from using Kurama's power but with different, more angular designs. What is this? Naruto wondered aloud, feeling the strange power coursing through him. It felt different from chakra, heavier, more primal, but also somehow familiar, as though it had always been a part of him waiting to awaken. Riser hesitated, visibly unnerved by the transformation. Then his pride reasserted itself. Fancy light show. But can you actually do anything with it? Naruto extended his hand, instinctively knowing what to do. A crimson magic circle formed, his first, and from it burst a beam of energy that struck Riser square in the chest, sending him flying into the wall. The audience gasped. That was undeniably devil magic. Riser pulled himself from the crater his impact had created, his clothing burned away but his body already regenerating from the damage. Impossible, he coughed. You can't just use devil magic instinctively. Naruto looked at his hand in wonder. Guess I'm a fast learner. Riser roared in frustration, summoning his most powerful flames. I am Riser Phoenix. I will not be humiliated by an outsider. The two powers collided at the center of the arena, Riser's golden flames against Naruto's crimson energy. For a moment they seemed evenly matched, energy crackling between them. Then Naruto grinned and formed a familiar hand sign. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 3 clones appeared, each glowing with the same crimson energy. While Riser was focused on the power struggle in front of him, the clones circled behind, each forming a Rasengan, but these weren't normal. The swirling spheres glowed with both blue chakra and crimson devil energy. Demon Art, Triple Crimson Rasengan. The 3 clones struck simultaneously from different angles. Riser screamed as the attacks connected, his regeneration struggling to keep up with the combined power of chakra and devil energy. When the smoke cleared, Riser lay in a crater, conscious but unable to stand. I yield, he managed, his pride thoroughly broken. The crimson aura faded from Naruto, leaving him swaying slightly from exertion but smiling. Grayfia stepped forward, officially ending the match. The winner, Naruto Uzumaki. The spectating devils erupted in excited whispers. Serafall bounced over to Naruto, clapping enthusiastically. That was amazing, she squealed. You combined your ninja stuff with devil power. Nobody's ever done that before. Serafall approached more sedately, helping Riser to his feet. A good match. You fought well, Riser. Riser shrugged off the assistants, his wounds already healing. He's not normal, he muttered, glaring at Naruto. No one learns devil magic that quickly. Unless it's in their blood, Serafall replied quietly. Naruto approached them, still riding the adrenaline high of the fight and discovery. That was incredible. The power felt wild but also like it was always a part of me. Because it was, Grayfia stated, studying him with new interest. Your chakra may have overshadowed it in your world, but here in the underworld, your devil blood responds to the surrounding energy. Naruto extended his hand to Riser. Good fight. Your regeneration ability is pretty awesome. Riser stared at the offered hand for a long moment before grudgingly accepting it. You fight, unpredictably. It would be interesting to face you again after you've had proper training. Is that a compliment? Naruto grinned. An observation, Riser replied stiffly, but the corner of his mouth twitched in what might have been the beginning of a smile. Later that evening, Naruto found himself in luxurious guest quarters, his burned clothes replaced with borrowed attire that felt oddly formal. He stood by the window, staring out at the alien landscape of the underworld, trying to process everything that had happened. A soft knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. Come in, he called. Serafall bounced in, no longer in her magical girl outfit but wearing an elegant black dress that somehow made her look both more mature and even more vibrant. Just checking on my new student, she announced, twirling once before flopping onto a nearby chair. How are you feeling? Devil power can be exhausting. When you first use it. Naruto nodded. Yeah, I'm pretty wiped out. But it's a different kind of tired than chakra exhaustion. That's because devil power draws on different sources, she explained, suddenly serious. Chakra sounds like it's about balance and control. Devil power is about emotion, desire, will. The stronger your feelings, the stronger your magic. That explains why it came out when I was angry or protecting people, Naruto mused. Exactly. Serafall beamed. You're a natural. Though combining it with your ninja abilities was super creative. I've never seen anything like those spinning energy ball things. Rasengan, Naruto supplied. It's my signature technique. Well, it looked amazing with devil power added. She leaned forward conspiratorially. You know, you caused quite a stir today. Everyone's talking about the mysterious ninja with Lucifer's blood. Naruto groaned. Great. More unwanted attention. Not a fan of the spotlight, she asked curiously. Actually, I usually love attention, Naruto admitted with a rueful smile. But back home, I was finally starting to be recognized for my achievements, not feared for what was inside me. Now I'm back to being the mysterious outsider. Serafall's expression softened with genuine empathy. I get that. Being a Satan Lord means people see the title before they see me. It's why I developed my magical girl persona, to make people smile instead of bow. Naruto looked at her with new understanding. That's actually pretty smart. Hide your true self behind a mask of silliness. Exactly, she grinned. Though the magical girl stuff is genuinely fun too. They shared a laugh, and Naruto felt a genuine connection forming. Despite her outward silliness, there was depth to Serafall. Another knock interrupted them, and Grayfia entered, carrying a stack of books. I thought these might be useful, she said, placing them on a table. Basic texts on Devil Society, Magic Theory, and History of the Great War. Thanks, Naruto said sincerely. Though I'm not much of a reader. So I assumed, Grayfia replied dryly. Which is why I've also arranged for practical instruction to begin tomorrow. With me. Serafall added happily. And myself, Grayfia continued. Lord Serzex believes having instruction in different magical styles will help you develop your unique abilities more fully. Naruto blinked in surprise. You're going to teach me too? Someone needs to ensure you learn proper control and not just flashy techniques, she said, giving Serafall a pointed look. Hey! Serafall pouted. My techniques are both flashy and powerful. Despite himself, Naruto smiled. These two powerful women, so different in personality but equally formidable, were going to be his teachers. I appreciate it, he said sincerely. Both of you. This whole situation is crazy, but having help makes it less overwhelming. Grayfia nodded formally, but there was a hint of approval in her eyes. Rest tonight. Tomorrow will be challenging. After they left, Naruto lay on the oversized bed, staring at the ceiling. Hey, Kurama, you awake? The fox's voice rumbled in his mind. Hard to sleep with all this strange energy around us. What do you make of all this? Me being part devil? Having some ancient bloodline? I sensed something unusual in your chakra from the beginning, Kurama admitted. Something separate from my power or your natural energy. I assumed it was a quirk of your Uzumaki heritage, but this explains certain anomalies. Like what? Like how quickly you heal, even without my help. How you can sense negative emotions naturally. Your ridiculous stamina. All traits that could come from devil blood. Naruto considered this. Do you think my parents knew? Kushina might have suspected something unusual in her bloodline, Kurama said thoughtfully. The Uzumaki clan always had special chakra and longevity. Perhaps that wasn't just coincidence. And now we're stuck in devil world, Naruto sighed. For now, Kurama agreed. But if there's a way here, there's a way back. And meanwhile, I've got crazy new powers to learn, Naruto finished with a growing smile. And two incredibly strong women teaching me. Just be careful, Kurama warned. Devils play political games we don't understand yet. Everyone will want to use your power for their own ends. Story of our life, Naruto yawned, feeling exhaustion finally overtaking him. But at least this time, I'm not alone from the start. As sleep claimed him, crimson energy flickered briefly around his body, responding to his emotions even in rest. In his dreams, Naruto saw flashes of a figure with blazing red eyes and 12 black wings, reaching across dimensions with a terrible, wonderful purpose. And somewhere in the depths of the underworld, ancient powers stirred, sensing the return of bloodlines long thought lost. Chapter 2, Between Worlds. Naruto woke up to sunlight streaming through massive windows and took a few seconds to remember where he was. The underworld. Devil territory. Not a dream after all. Morning already, he groaned, rubbing his eyes. The room they'd given him was bigger than his entire apartment back in Konoha, with furniture that looked more expensive than everything he'd ever owned combined. A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. Wakey wakey, ninja boy. Serafall's sing-song voice called through the door. Training starts in 30 minutes. Naruto jumped out of bed. 30 minutes? Why didn't anybody wake me earlier? I just did, she giggled. Breakfast is waiting in the dining hall. Don't be late or Grayfia will give you the scary face. Her footsteps bounded away down the hallway. Naruto quickly found clothes laid out for him, not his usual orange jumpsuit, but black pants and a crimson shirt that felt weirdly formal but comfortable. Devil fashion, he guessed. 20 minutes later, he slid into the dining hall just as Grayfia was checking her watch. Cutting it close, she remarked without looking up. Sorry, Naruto scratched the back of his head. Still getting used to this place. The dining table was loaded with food he didn't recognize, but his stomach growled anyway. He sat down across from Serafall, who was somehow already finishing her meal despite waking him just minutes ago. "Sleep well?" Serafall asked, entering the room with a stack of papers. "Yeah, surprisingly," Naruto replied, piling food onto his plate. "So what's the plan for today?" "Getting you properly trained," Grayfia answered. "Your display yesterday was impressive but dangerously uncontrolled. Devil power responds to emotion, but without proper technique, it can be unpredictable. Like my fight with Riser," Naruto nodded. "I wasn't really controlling it, just letting it happen." "Exactly," Serafall said. "Which is why Serafall and Grayfia will be working with you. They represent different approaches to devil magic, Serafall's more creative style, and Grayfia's precision. And you'll teach us cool ninja stuff too, right?" Serafall bounced in her seat. "I want to learn how to make shadow clones and walk on walls." Naruto grinned. "Sure, though I don't know if chakra works the same way for devils." "That's part of what we'll discover," Serafall said. "The connection between chakra and demonic power might help us understand how to get you home." The reminder sobered Naruto. Home felt impossibly distant now. "Any news about that?" he asked. "About how I got here or how to get back?" Serafall shook his head. "Our researchers are studying the residual energy from your arrival, but dimensional travel is rare even for us. It may take time. Meanwhile," Grayfia stood, "we train. Finish your breakfast quickly." The training grounds behind the mansion were enormous, easily the size of the Forest of Death back in Konoha, with various terrains from rocky outcroppings to small lakes and forested areas. "First," Grayfia said, standing before Naruto, "you need to understand the fundamental difference between chakra and devil power." She created a small ice crystal in her palm. "Devil magic comes from our very nature as devils. It doesn't require hand signs or external energy manipulation, it flows directly from will and emotion through magical circles." Serafall demonstrated by creating a swirling water spiral. "It's like, whoosh, from your feeling straight into reality. The stronger you feel, the stronger the magic." "That's actually kind of like chakra in some ways," Naruto mused. "Especially when I use Kurama's power. Emotions definitely affect it." "Who's Kurama?" Serafall tilted her head. "The nine-tailed fox inside me," Naruto explained. "We're partners now, but his chakra definitely responds to anger or strong emotions." "Fascinating," Grayfia studied him. "This Kurama, is he aware of what's happening?" "Yeah, he can see and hear everything I do," Naruto tapped his stomach. "Want to say hi?" Before either woman could respond, Naruto closed his eyes. When they reopened, they were slitted and red, with an entirely different presence behind them. "So these are the devils teaching my kid," Kurama's deep voice emerged from Naruto's mouth, making both women tense. "Interesting. I've never encountered your kind before." A sentient being living inside him, Grayfia observed, recovering quickly. "Similar to a sacred gear but distinct. He's super fluffy in person." Naruto's normal voice returned with a grin. "Though he hates when I say that. Can we meet him properly?" Serafall asked excitedly. "Like, for real?" Naruto shrugged. "Maybe. I can manifest him partially with chakra, but it's draining. Later perhaps," Grayfia redirected firmly. "For now, let's focus on your devil powers." The next few hours were intense. Grayfia methodically taught Naruto the basics of creating magic circles, the foundation of most devil techniques. Serafall showed him how to channel emotions into power, demonstrating her water and ice abilities with theatrical flair. Naruto was a quick study, quicker than either had expected. By midday, he could consistently create a basic magic circle and channel his devil energy through it. "It's different from molding chakra," he explained during a break. With chakra, I'm combining physical and spiritual energy. This feels more like tapping directly into something that was always there but dormant. Because it was, Grayfia confirmed. Your devil blood has always been part of you, just overshadowed by your chakra system in your world. Now try combining them. Serafall suggested excitedly. Like you did with your Rasengan yesterday. Naruto nodded, forming a shadow clone. Together, they began creating a Rasengan, but this time Naruto consciously tried to add his devil energy to the mix. The result was spectacular, and disastrous. The Rasengan swirled with both blue chakra and crimson devil power, growing unstable until it exploded, sending Naruto and his clone flying in opposite directions. Ow! Naruto groaned from the small crater where he'd landed. Serafall helped him up, laughing. That was awesome. I mean, totally uncontrolled, but awesome. Even Grayfia looked intrigued. The energies seemed to amplify each other but become unstable without proper balance. Story of my life, Naruto muttered, dusting himself off. Again, Grayfia instructed. But this time, start with less devil power and increase gradually. By sunset, Naruto had made significant progress. He could maintain a stable Crimson Rasengan for several seconds before it became unstable, create basic devil magic circles for elemental attacks, and had even begun experimenting with adding devil power to his shadow clones. You learn fast, Grayfia acknowledged as they walked back toward the mansion. Most devils take years to master basics you've grasped in a day. I've always been a hands-on learner, Naruto shrugged. Reading scrolls puts me to sleep, but show me something once, and I'll figure it out. That's why you and I are gonna get along great. Serafall skipped alongside them. I'm the same way. Grayfia's all about theory and perfect form, but I say if it works, it works. Both approaches have value, Grayfia said diplomatically. Though I suspect Naruto's unique situation allows him to progress faster than normal devils would. Inside the mansion, they found Serafall waiting with several other devils Naruto hadn't met yet. How was training? Serafall asked. Promising, Grayfia reported. His control is improving rapidly. Excellent, Serafall nodded. Naruto, I'd like you to meet Ajuka Beelzebub, another of the 4 great Satans. A tall man with green hair bowed slightly. I've heard much about you already. Your arrival has caused quite a stir. Yeah, I've been getting that a lot, Naruto said. Nice to meet you. Ajuka is our foremost expert on magical theory, Serafall explained. He's particularly interested in the interaction between your chakra and devil powers. Would you mind if I observe tomorrow's training session? Ajuka asked. The combination of energies could have significant implications for our understanding of interdimensional forces. Sure, Naruto agreed, though the scientific terminology was already making his head hurt. But that's tomorrow, Serafall declared, grabbing Naruto's arm. Tonight, we celebrate your first day of training. I've arranged a special dinner. After he's cleaned up, I hope, Grayfia noted, pointedly looking at Naruto's training rumpled appearance. Oh. Right. Naruto looked down at his dirt-stained clothes. Give me 10 minutes. An hour later, freshly showered and dressed in formal attire that still felt strange, Naruto sat at a private dining table with Serafall, Grayfia, Serafall, and Ajuka. The food was elaborate, dishes he didn't recognize but that smelled amazing. A toast, Serafall raised his glass, to new alliances and unexpected discoveries. They clinked glasses, and Naruto took a sip of what turned out to be some kind of sweet, fizzy drink, not alcohol, he noted with relief. The last thing he needed was to get drunk around a bunch of devil lords. So, Ajuka leaned forward, tell us about this ninja world of yours. Is everyone capable of these chakra techniques? No, not everyone, Naruto explained between bites. Some people are born with more chakra or better control. We train from childhood at ninja academies to develop our skills. And your village, Konohagakure, correct? It's one of several ninja villages. Yeah, there's the 5 great nations, each with their main hidden village. We've had wars in the past, but things were finally getting peaceful before. He trailed off, thinking about the 4th great ninja war that had been brewing. Before you arrived here, Grayfia finished for him. Naruto nodded, suddenly less hungry. My friends must be worried. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura, everyone. They probably think I died in that explosion with Sasuke. A somber mood fell over the table. We will find a way to return you home, Serafall assured him. Though I admit, selfishly, your presence here could be tremendously beneficial to the devil world. How so? Naruto asked. The old faction that attacked yesterday is just one of several groups causing instability, Serafall explained. We've maintained peace since the Great War with angels and fallen angels, but internal divisions remain. And a descendant of the original Lucifer would be politically significant, Ajuka added. I'm not really into politics, Naruto said. Back home, I wanted to become Hokage to protect people, not for power games. Hokage? Serafall asked. The leader of my village. The strongest ninja who protects everyone. A noble goal, Grayfia commented. Though leadership always involves politics, whether one likes it or not. The conversation shifted to lighter topics after that, Serafall asking endless questions about ninja techniques, Ajuka theorizing about the scientific principles of chakra, Serafall sharing stories about the underworld's history. By the end of dinner, Naruto found himself genuinely enjoying their company, almost forgetting temporarily that he was stranded in another world. The next morning brought another surprise. When Naruto arrived at the training grounds, he found not just Grayfia and Serafall waiting, but a small audience of young devils. What's going on? He asked. Word has spread about your unique abilities, Grayfia explained. These young devils have requested permission to observe and perhaps learn from your training. I thought it would be fun. Serafall added. Plus, teaching others helps solidify your own understanding. Naruto recognized one face in the small crowd, Riser Phoenix, looking somewhat less arrogant than during their fight but still aloof. Didn't expect to see you here, Naruto commented as he approached the group. I'm merely curious about these ninja techniques, Riser sniffed. Devils have always valued acquiring new skills. Well, I'm happy to show you guys some basics, Naruto grinned. Though I don't know if they'll work the same way for devils. That's what we're here to find out, a red-haired young woman stepped forward. I'm Rias Gremory, Serafall's younger sister. Nice to meet you, Naruto shook her hand. Your brother's been really helpful. He speaks highly of you, she smiled. Is it true you can create physical copies of yourself? Not illusions but actual duplicates. Shadow clones? Yeah, that's kind of my specialty. Naruto formed the cross seal. Shadow clone jutsu. 20 perfect copies of Naruto appeared in a cloud of smoke, causing the young devils to gasp and murmur in excitement. Incredible! Rias exclaimed. And they're fully independent? Yep, the clones responded in unison. We can think for ourselves, fight independently, and when we dispel, all our memories go back to the original. That's what makes it such a great training technique, the real Naruto explained. If I make 100 clones and have them practice for an hour, I get 100 hours of practice experience. Even Riser looked impressed despite himself. That would be extremely useful. Want to try it? Naruto asked the group. The hand seal is like this. What followed was equal parts training and chaos. The young devils attempted the shadow clone technique with varying degrees of success. Most produced only smoke or weak illusions, but a few managed flickering, semi-solid duplicates. It requires precise chakra control and distribution, Naruto explained. You need to split your energy evenly among the clones. But we don't have chakra, a blonde girl named Ravel, Riser's younger sister, Naruto had learned, pointed out. "We have demonic power. That's why we're experimenting," Ajuka interjected, observing closely. "To see if demonic power can be channeled in similar ways." Surprisingly, Rias showed the most aptitude, producing a clone that lasted nearly 30 seconds before dissolving. "You've got a knack for it," Naruto praised. "She's always been a quick study," Grayfia noted with what might have been a hint of pride. As the young devils practiced, Naruto continued his own training with Serafall and Grayfia. By midday, he'd made further progress combining his chakra and devil powers, creating what he'd started calling Crimson Rasengan with greater stability. "Now try adding your wind nature to it," Grayfia suggested. "That's tricky," Naruto admitted. "My wind-style Rasen Shuriken is already complex. Adding devil power might make it unstable." "Start small," Serafall encouraged. "Just a tiny bit of wind." Naruto nodded, forming another Rasengan and carefully adding both his devil power and a whisper of wind chakra. The sphere began spinning faster, crimson energy swirling with tiny blades of wind. "It's working," he grinned, just before the technique exploded spectacularly, sending everyone diving for cover. When the dust cleared, Naruto lay sprawled on his back, laughing despite the pain. "Okay, needs more practice." The young devils were watching wide-eyed, even Riser looking impressed. "Perhaps we should move to something less volatile," Grayfia suggested dryly, helping Naruto up. The rest of the day continued with more controlled experiments. Naruto taught the basics of chakra control, tree walking and water walking, which the young devils adapted to using their demonic power instead. In turn, they showed him various devil techniques, from basic teleportation circles to elemental manipulation methods different from ninja approaches. It was educational for everyone involved, and by sunset, even Riser had grudgingly asked Naruto to explain a particular clone technique in more detail. "Not bad for a day's work," Naruto said as the young devils departed, excitedly discussing new ideas. "You're a natural teacher," Serafall observed. "They all loved learning from you." Indeed, Ajuka approached, having observed the entire session. "Your methods are unorthodox but effective. I've gathered fascinating data on the interaction between chakra and demonic power. Does any of it help figure out how I can get home?" Naruto asked. Ajuka's expression grew more serious. "Perhaps. The resonance patterns suggest a specific frequency that might help locate the dimensional breach you came through. But it would require more testing." "Whatever it takes," Naruto nodded firmly. The next few days fell into a rhythm. Mornings were devoted to Naruto's training with Grayfia and Serafall. Afternoons often included teaching sessions with the young devils, who kept returning for more ninja knowledge. Evenings were spent with various devil nobles who always seemed to have just dropped by to meet the mysterious Lucifer descendant. Naruto's progress was remarkable. He could now maintain his devil powers consciously rather than just during emotional moments, create increasingly complex magic circles, and had begun developing hybrid techniques combining ninja and devil abilities. "Your affinity for power of destruction is unusual," Serafall commented one evening, watching Naruto practice. "That's normally limited to the Bale and Gremory bloodlines." "Power of destruction?" Naruto asked, looking at the crimson energy swirling around his hand. "The ability to break down matter at a fundamental level," Serafall explained, demonstrating with his own crimson power that looked similar but darker than Naruto's. "Mine comes from my mother's Bale heritage. Yours must be from the original Lucifer." "Is that good?" "It's one of the most powerful abilities devils possess," Serafall said. "Combined with your ninja techniques, the potential is concerning to some." Naruto frowned. "What do you mean?" "Not everyone is pleased with your rapid progress," Grayfia explained, joining them. "Some older noble families see you as a threat to the established order." "I'm just trying to figure out my powers and get home," Naruto protested. "I don't care about devil politics." "Unfortunately, devil politics cares about you," Serafall said grimly. Be careful who you trust, Naruto. Your bloodline makes you a target for those who would use you. The warning dampened Naruto's mood, reminding him of his childhood in Konoha when everyone feared him for containing the Nine Tails. Later that night, unable to sleep, Naruto wandered onto one of the mansion's many balconies. The purple sky of the underworld glittered with strange stars, beautiful but alien. Missing home? Serafall's voice came from behind him. Naruto turned to see her leaning against the doorway, dressed more casually than usual in a simple blue dress rather than her magical girl outfit. Yeah, he admitted. Don't get me wrong, everyone here has been great, especially you and Grayfia. But it's not home. She joined him at the railing. Tell me about them, your precious people back home. Naruto smiled softly. Iruka-sensei was the first person to believe in me when everyone else saw me as a monster. Kakashi-sensei acts all cool and detached but would die for his students in a heartbeat. Sakura hits really hard but has the best medical skills I've ever seen. Shikamaru's the laziest genius you'll ever meet. He continued, describing each friend in turn, their strengths and quirks, the missions they'd shared, the bonds they'd formed. Serafall listened attentively, asking questions and laughing at his stories. They sound wonderful, she said when he finally ran out of words. No wonder you're so determined to get back. Yeah, Naruto nodded. Though I have to admit, I'm starting to care about people here too. Serafall's eyes widened slightly. Oh. Like who? Well, you, for starters, Naruto said honestly. You're always so positive, but there's more to you than the silly act, isn't there? You care about people, especially your sister Sona. You work hard to make others smile. Now it was Serafall's turn to be surprised. You figured that out already? Most people just see the magical girl routine and think that's all there is. I know something about wearing masks, Naruto shrugged. And Grayfia too, she acts all cold and proper, but she notices everything. She corrected my stance yesterday before I even realized it was wrong, and she always makes sure I eat after training even though she pretends it's just protocol. Serafall giggled. You've got her pegged. Grayfia cares deeply but would rather die than show it obviously. It's why she's such a good wife to Serzex, she keeps him grounded. They're married? Naruto's eyes widened. I had no idea. Yep. Though she insists on maintaining her maid role in public. Devil politics, Serafall rolled her eyes. It's all super complicated and boring. You don't seem like the political type either, Naruto observed. I'm not, she declared dramatically. But being a Satan means playing the game sometimes. I'd rather just freeze anyone who annoys me, but apparently that's undiplomatic. She made air quotes with her fingers. They both laughed, and Naruto felt some of his homesickness ease. They talked for another hour about lighter topics, favorite foods, embarrassing stories, training mishaps, before Serafall finally yawned. We should sleep, she said reluctantly. Grayfia has that special training plan tomorrow. What special training? Serafall winked. It's a surprise. But you'll need your energy. As she turned to leave, she paused, then quickly leaned in and kissed Naruto's cheek. Good night, Whisker Face, she said cheerfully, then skipped away before he could respond. Naruto stood frozen for a moment, his hand touching his cheek where her lips had been. Ha, he murmured, a small smile spreading across his face. The special training turned out to be a field trip. Grayfia, Serafall, and Naruto traveled via magic circle to a remote area of the underworld, a massive crater surrounded by twisted, crystalline formations that glowed with eerie light. This is the dimensional gap overflow, Grayfia explained as they walked toward the center of the crater. One of several places where the barrier between dimensions is naturally thin. Like where I came through? Naruto asked, feeling a strange resonance with the area. Similar, but not exactly, Serafall said, unusually serious. Your arrival created a new breach. These are natural weak points that have existed for centuries. We believe your unique energy signature might help us locate the specific breach you created, Grayfia continued. If we can find it, we might be able to reopen it enough for you to return home. Hope surged in Naruto's chest. Really? What do I need to do? Channel your chakra and devil power simultaneously while we measure the dimensional resonance, Grayfia instructed. Ajuka has provided special equipment for this purpose. She produced what looked like crystal orbs attached to various magical circles. Serafall began setting them up in a pattern around Naruto. This might take a while, Serafall warned. And it'll probably be tiring. I don't care, Naruto said determinedly. If there's a chance it helps me get home, I'll do it all day. The next few hours were exhausting. Naruto sat cross-legged in the center of the formation, channeling his chakra and devil power in various combinations while Grayfia and Serafall monitored the crystals. By midday, sweat poured down his face from the effort of maintaining such precise control for so long. There's definitely a response, Grayfia observed, studying one crystal that glowed brighter than the others. But it's inconsistent. Try adding the Ninetales chakra too, Serafall suggested. That might have been part of what caused the breach initially. Naruto nodded, closing his eyes to communicate with Kurama. Ready to help, partner? Always, Kit, the fox rumbled. Though this place feels strange even to me. Naruto drew on Kurama's chakra, adding it to the mix. The effect was immediate, all the crystals flared brilliantly, and the ground beneath them trembled. That's it! Serafall exclaimed. The resonance is much stronger now. Grayfia quickly adjusted several magical circles, her hands moving in precise patterns. Maintain that exact balance, Naruto. I'm trying to isolate the dimensional frequency. Naruto gritted his teeth, struggling to hold the precise balance of 3 different energy types. The air around them began to shimmer, reality itself seeming to waver. I think something's happening, Naruto started to say. The world exploded. A massive surge of energy blasted outward from where they stood, knocking all 3 of them off their feet. The sky above the crater tore open, revealing a swirling vortex of chaotic colors. What's happening? Naruto shouted over the sudden roaring wind. The breach. Grayfia called back, already on her feet and creating defensive magic circles. It's reopening, but something's wrong. Figures began falling from the portal, human shapes in black cloaks with red cloud patterns. Naruto's blood ran cold. Akatsuki. Friends of yours? Serafall asked, sliding into a combat stance beside him. Definitely not, Naruto growled as 4 figures landed gracefully despite the fall, instantly assessing their surroundings with the precision of elite ninjas. One of them, a tall man with stitches across his body, spotted Naruto immediately. Target acquired. The Ninetales Jinchuriki is here. Kakuzu, Naruto identified him. And Haiden, Kisame, and Konan. I thought you were with Nagato. The blue-haired woman composed of paper sheets stared at him impassively. Circumstances have changed. The Ninetales will be captured today. You picked the wrong world to follow me to, Naruto warned, his devil power already surging to mix with his chakra. I've learned some new tricks since we last met. As have I, Kisame grinned, his shark-like teeth gleaming as he unslung his massive sword. Samahata is hungry for your chakra, Naruto. These are enemies from your world? Grayfia asked, ice forming around her hands. They're after the Ninetales inside me, Naruto confirmed. Their S-rank missing mean, extremely dangerous. Ooh, a challenge. Serafall's playful demeanor was gone, replaced by the calculated focus of a Satan-class devil. I've been wanting to see how devils match up against your ninja elite. Haiden twirled his 3-bladed scythe. What the hell are these women? Their chakra feels wrong. Not chakra, Kakuzu corrected, his eyes narrowing. Something else. Be cautious. Enough talk, Kisame growled. Water style, exploding water shock wave. A massive wall of water erupted from his mouth, surging toward them like a tsunami. Serafall laughed and raised one hand. Amateur hour. Ice Princess Barrier. The water froze instantly into a massive ice sculpture, which she then shattered with a flick of her wrist, sending ice shards flying back at Kisame. Devil powers, Naruto explained to the shocked Akatsuki members. And they're two of the strongest. Fascinating, Kakuzu muttered. But irrelevant. Earth grudge fear. Black threads erupted from his body, splitting into multiple attacks targeting all three of them. Grayfia's response was immediate and precise. Ice severing. A freezing wave sliced through the threads, cutting them off mid-attack. The battle exploded into chaos. Haiden charged at Naruto while Kisame engaged Serafall in a water versus ice duel that was reshaping the landscape with each exchange. Kakuzu sent his heart monsters to attack Grayfia, who responded with terrifying precision, her ice magic freezing and shattering them one by one. Konan dissolved into a storm of paper, swirling around the battlefield and striking opportunistically at all of them. Naruto created shadow clones to deal with Haiden while he focused on combining his new devil powers with his existing techniques. Crimson Rasengan, he shouted, the swirling sphere in his hand now blazing with both chakra and devil energy. He slammed it into the ground near Haiden, the explosion sending the immortal Akatsuki member flying before he could complete his ritual circle. What the hell was that? Haiden demanded, regenerating even as parts of his body were disintegrated by the power of destruction component. That wasn't a normal Rasengan. Told you I learned new tricks, Naruto grinned, his eyes now glowing with devil power. 6 black wings had sprouted from his back instinctively during the fight, another sign of his devil heritage manifesting. Across the battlefield, Serafall had transformed the entire area around her and Kisame into a winter wonderland of deadly beauty. Ice flowers bloomed and shattered into razor-sharp petals, while Kisame's water techniques were continuously frozen and turned against him. Impossible, Kisame growled, Samahata writhing in his grip. The sword can't absorb your energy. Devil magic isn't chakra, fish face. Serafall winked, launching another devastatingly powerful ice attack. Eternal Blizzard Prison. The air around Kisame crystallized instantly, trapping him in a block of ice so cold it steamed in the air. Meanwhile, Grayfia was systematically dismantling Kakuzu's techniques with ruthless efficiency. Her expression remained calm even as she froze and shattered 2 of his hearts. Your 5 hearts won't save you here, she informed him coldly, dodging his fire attack with graceful precision. Absolute zero. The temperature around Kakuzu plummeted so rapidly that the air itself condensed and froze. He screamed as ice formed inside his body, crystallizing his remaining hearts. Naruto had never seen combat like this. The 2 devil women were fighting at a level that matched or exceeded Kage-level ninjas, and they were doing it with what appeared to be minimal effort. We need to retreat, Konan declared, reforming briefly beside Haiden. This world's powers are beyond our current understanding. Jashin demands sacrifice. Haiden protested, still trying to draw his ritual circle despite missing an arm that Naruto's Crimson Rasengan had disintegrated. Jashin can wait, Kakuzu growled, struggling to break free of the ice consuming his body. The girl in the dress isn't normal, she froze my fire technique. But retreat wasn't an option. The dimensional portal that had brought them was already closing, reality sealing itself once more. Now what? Naruto asked, regrouping with Grayfia and Serafall. We finish this, Grayfia stated, frost spreading from her feet. These intruders threaten the underworld security. I've got a better idea, Serafall said, surprising both of them. Let's capture them. If they came through the same breach as Naruto, studying them might help us understand how to reopen it safely. Smart thinking. Naruto agreed. Plus, they might have information about what happened after I disappeared. The 3 of them moved together, falling into formation with the instinctive coordination of experienced fighters. Naruto created dozens of shadow clones to restrict the Akatsuki members' movements while Serafall and Grayfia prepared a containment spell. Ice-binding world. Serafall and Grayfia called in unison, combining their powers into a massive freezing field that engulfed the entire battlefield. The Akatsuki members fought desperately but found themselves gradually encased in magical ice that drained their chakra and restricted their movements. "This isn't over," Kisame snarled as the ice crept up his body. "The Akatsuki always completes its missions." "Not today," Naruto replied, standing. With his new allies as the last of the resistance faded. Hours later, the Akatsuki members were secured in specialized cells beneath Surzek's mansion, their abilities suppressed by magic circles designed by Ajuka based on Naruto's knowledge of chakra. "This is an unexpected development," Surzek observed as they watched security footage of the prisoners. "But potentially useful. They can tell us what's happening back in my world," Naruto said anxiously. "What happened after I disappeared?" "We'll interrogate them properly tomorrow," Grayfia advised. "After they've had time to contemplate their situation. And after we've rested," Serafall added, surprising everyone by yawning widely. "That was a workout even for me." Naruto realized he was exhausted too. Using both chakra and devil powers together for extended periods was draining in a way he hadn't experienced before. "You three performed admirably today," Surzek said with genuine admiration. "Especially you, Naruto. Your adaptation to devil powers continues to impress." "I had good teachers," Naruto smiled at Grayfia and Serafall. Later, after cleaning up and changing, Naruto found himself back on his favorite balcony, processing the day's events. The fight with the Akatsuki had been intense but also strangely exhilarating. Fighting alongside Serafall and Grayfia had felt natural, their powers complementing his own perfectly. "May I join you?" Grayfia's voice came from the doorway. Naruto turned, surprised to see her out of her maid uniform, dressed instead in a simple gray dress that somehow made her look both more approachable and even more elegant. "Of course," he nodded. She moved to stand beside him, looking out at the underworld's night sky. "You fought well today." Coming from Grayfia, that was high praise. "Thanks. Though I was mostly trying to keep up with you and Serafall. You two are incredible." "We are Satan-class devils," she said matter-of-factly. "But your potential may exceed even that level, especially with your unique combination of powers." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment before Grayfia spoke again. "I owe you an apology," she said quietly. "For what?" "I was suspicious of you when you first arrived. I thought you might be a threat or an opportunist seeking to exploit your bloodline." Naruto chuckled. "That's not an apology-worthy offense. It was smart to be suspicious of a random guy who appeared out of nowhere claiming weird powers." "Perhaps," she acknowledged with the faintest smile. "But I've come to see that your character matches your strength. You fight to protect, not to dominate. That's uncommon among devils, especially powerful ones." "That's just how I was raised," Naruto shrugged. "Protect your precious people. Never go back on your word. That's my ninja way." "A commendable philosophy," Grayfia said softly. "And one that has clearly served you well." Another comfortable silence fell between them. Naruto realized that Grayfia's normally icy demeanor had thawed considerably around him over the past days, especially after their shared battle today. "Can I ask you something personal?" he ventured. She raised an eyebrow but nodded. "Serafall mentioned you're married to Surzek, but you act as his maid. Why is that?" Grayfia's expression remained neutral, but something flickered in her eyes. "Politics, primarily. I was once part of the old Satan faction, fighting against Surzek and the current regime. When I switched sides, complications arose." "You were enemies?" Naruto's eyes widened. "Bitter ones," she confirmed. "The story of how that changed is private. But suffice to say, maintaining the public role of chief maid rather than wife simplifies certain political realities. That sounds lonely, Naruto observed. Grayfia looked genuinely surprised by his comment. I hadn't thought of it in those terms. Sorry, not trying to pry, Naruto said quickly. It just seems like you're always taking care of everyone else but keeping yourself apart. She studied him with new interest. You're more perceptive than you appear, Naruto Uzumaki. I get that a lot, he grinned. They were interrupted by Serafall bouncing onto the balcony, her energy seemingly recharged after her brief rest. There you two are, she exclaimed. Serafall called an emergency meeting. Something big is happening. The meeting room was already full when they arrived. Serafall, Ajuka, and several other high-ranking devils stood around a table covered in magical projections showing various parts of the underworld. What's going on? Naruto asked. Dimensional disturbances, Ajuka explained, pointing to the swirling patterns on the displays. Similar to your arrival but much larger in scale. They began shortly after your battle with the Akatsuki members. The breach is growing, Serafall said grimly. Your resonance test combined with the Akatsuki's arrival has weakened the barriers between worlds. Is that good news for getting me home? Naruto asked hopefully. Potentially, Ajuka nodded. But uncontrolled breaches are dangerous. They don't just connect to your world but potentially to multiple dimensions, including ones far more hostile. We've already detected incursions in 3 locations, another devil reported. Creatures that match neither devil nor human patterns. And that's not all, Serafall added. One of the prisoners, the woman made of paper, has requested to speak with you, Naruto. She claims to have critical information about both worlds. Naruto's eyes widened. Conan. She was Nagato's partner. If she's willing to talk, it must be important. We'll accompany you, Grayfia stated, not a request but a declaration. Absolutely. Serafall agreed. No solo prisoner visits. The holding cells were deep beneath the mansion, protected by multiple layers of magical barriers. Conan sat calmly in her cell, paper flowers floating around her despite the suppression spells, a testament to her control. Naruto Uzumaki, she acknowledged as they approached. And his new allies. You said you had information, Naruto got straight to the point. About what happened after I disappeared. Conan nodded. Chaos erupted. Your friend Sasuke was found unconscious but alive. He claimed you were consumed by strange energy and vanished. The Akatsuki saw an opportunity in the confusion. What kind of opportunity? Naruto pressed. Madara Uchiha, or the man claiming to be him, has accelerated his plans. Without the 9 tails, the 10 tails will be incomplete, but he believes it will still be sufficient. For what? The infinite Tsukuyomi, Conan said gravely. A genjutsu to ensnare the entire world. Naruto's fists clenched. And you're helping him? No. Conan's expression hardened. After Nagato's death, I began to question Madara's true motives. That's why I came with this team, not to capture you, but to warn you. Warn me about what? Madara knows where you are, she revealed. The dimensional distortion wasn't random. He used a special Sharingan technique to locate the 9 tails chakra across dimensions. Naruto exchanged alarmed glances with Grayfia and Serafall. You're saying he can open portals between worlds too? Serafall asked. Not easily, and not without great cost, Conan explained. But he's desperate now. The allied shinobi forces are forming to oppose him, led by your teachers and friends. He needs the 9 tails power. So he sent you 4 to get me. That was the official mission, Conan nodded. But as I said, my true purpose was to warn you. Madara doesn't just want the 9 tails anymore, he's learned of this world too, of its unique energies. He believes combining devil power with the Ten Tails will make the infinite Tsukimi unbreakable. That's insane, Naruto breathed. He'd have to conquer an entire world of devils. He's coming himself, Conan said gravely. And he's bringing an army. The white Zetsu clones, tens of thousands of them, plus reanimated shinobi under his control. When? Grayfia demanded. Soon. The dimensional breaches you're detecting are likely his preliminary tests. The main invasion won't be far behind. Serafall, who had been silently observing, stepped forward. Why are you telling us this? Betraying your organization? Conan's eyes remained fixed on Naruto. Because Nagato believed in him. Believed he could bring peace. If Madara succeeds in combining the powers of both worlds, there will never be peace, only eternal slavery to his will. Can we trust her? Serafall whispered to Naruto. Naruto studied Conan carefully before nodding. Yes. She was loyal to Nagato, not Madara. If she says he's the real threat, I believe her. Then we need to prepare, Serafall declared. If this Madara is truly coming with an army, the entire underworld must be mobilized. And I need to find a way back, Naruto added. My friends are fighting without me. I need to be there. First things first, Grayfia said practically. We need more information about these breaches and how to control them. Ajuka's research becomes even more critical now. They left Conan's cell with heavy thoughts, the situation having escalated beyond anyone's expectations. What had begun as Naruto's personal journey to understand his powers and find a way home had now become a potential interdimensional war. Word spread quickly throughout the Devil Society. Emergency councils were called, defenses reinforced, and scout teams dispatched to monitor the growing dimensional breaches. Ajuka worked tirelessly with his research team, using data from Naruto's resonance test and samples from the Akatsuki prisoners to understand the mechanics of cross-dimensional travel. Through it all, Naruto continued training with Grayfia and Serafall, now with renewed urgency. His progress accelerated even further under pressure, his devil powers integrating more seamlessly with his chakra each day. Your wings are more stable now, Grayfia observed during one training session, watching as Naruto maintained flight with 6 black devil wings sprouting from his back. They feel more natural, Naruto agreed, executing a complex aerial maneuver before landing. Like they were always supposed to be there. Because they were, Serafall said, creating ice sculptures with casual waves of her hand. Your devil blood is fully awakening now. A week after Conan's warning, Ajuka called them to his laboratory beneath the mansion. The room was filled with complex magical equipment, glowing diagrams covering every surface. I've made a breakthrough, he announced without preamble. Using the resonance patterns from both Naruto and the prisoners, I've mapped the specific dimensional frequency connecting our world to theirs. Can you open a portal? Naruto asked eagerly. Not exactly, Ajuka tempered his expectations. But I can create a device that will allow you to locate existing breaches and potentially stabilize them for passage. He handed Naruto what looked like a crystal compass, symbols etched into its surface glowing with power. This will guide you to active breaches, he explained. And with your unique energy signature, you should be able to influence them, widen or narrow them as needed. This is incredible, Naruto turned the device over in his hands. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Ajuka warned. We've detected a massive energy buildup in the largest breach. Something is coming through, something big. As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the building. Breach detected in Sector 7, a voice announced over the communication system. Unknown entities emerging. It's starting, Serafall said grimly, striding into the laboratory. Naruto, you know these enemies better than anyone. We need your insights. They rushed to the command center, where magical displays showed a mountainous region of the underworld. A swirling vortex had opened in the sky, and from it poured hundreds of white humanoid figures, white Zetsu clones, just as Conan had warned. They're not individually strong, Naruto explained quickly. But they can absorb chakra, and there are thousands of them. Our forces are engaging now, a devil commander reported. On the displays, devil troops launched magical attacks at the invaders, destroying dozens of white zetsus with each blast. But more kept coming. They're just the first wave, Naruto warned. If Madara is really coming, he didn't finish his sentence. A new figure emerged from the portal, a masked man in an Akatsuki cloak, radiating power that was visible even through the magical displays. Madara, Naruto growled. The masked man surveyed the battlefield below him, then made a single-hand sign. The portal behind him widened dramatically, and coffin-like structures began emerging, dozens, then hundreds. Edo Tensei, Naruto explained to the confused devils. Reanimated dead ninjas under his control. They can't be killed by normal means. Can they be sealed? Grayfia asked practically. Yes, or immobilized completely. Destroying the summoner also works. Serafall nodded. Then we have our targets. Ajuka, coordinate the main defense forces against these white creatures. Grayfia, prepare our sealing specialists for the reanimated ninjas. What about Madara himself? Serafall asked. He's mine, Naruto declared, his eyes hardening. I know his abilities better than anyone here. You won't face him alone, Serafall stated firmly. Indeed, Grayfia agreed. We'll accompany you. Serafall looked like he wanted to object but nodded instead. The three of you have shown remarkable synchronicity in combat. If anyone can face this Madara, it's you together. Within minutes, they were prepared for teleportation to the battlefield. Naruto wore a new outfit designed by Ajuka, black with crimson accents that accommodated his wings and enhanced his devil powers while not restricting his ninja movements. Be careful, Serafall warned as they stepped onto the teleportation circle. From what you've described, this Madara possesses abilities unlike anything we've encountered. So do we, Naruto grinned, his confidence genuine. After weeks of training with Serafall and Grayfia, he felt more powerful than ever before, his ninja techniques amplified by devil energy, his natural adaptability enhanced by devil instincts. The teleportation circle activated, and reality shifted around them. They materialized on a hillside overlooking the battlefield. Below, devil forces clashed with white Zetsu clones and reanimated ninja, magic and chakra lighting up the landscape in a deadly light show. In the center of it all stood the masked man, Madara, observing the chaos with apparent satisfaction. I count at least 50 reanimated shinobi, Naruto said grimly. Some of them are Kage level. The devils are holding their own, Grayfia observed. Our powers seem particularly effective against these white creatures. Devil magic targets the soul and life force, Serafall explained. If these things are artificial constructs, they're especially vulnerable. Naruto focused on Madara, who still hadn't moved to engage directly. Something's off. The real Madara would be in the thick of battle, not just watching. As if hearing him, the masked figure suddenly looked directly at their position, even though they were concealed and distant. Naruto Uzumaki, the man's voice somehow carried across the battlefield. I've come for the Nine Tails. And for the secrets of this devil world. Naruto stepped forward, wings extending from his back. You'll get neither, Madara, or should I say, Obito. The masked man stiffened visibly. Yeah, I know who you really are, Naruto continued. Konan figured it out and told us everything. You're not Madara, you're Obito Uchiha, Kakashi-sensei's old teammate. A tense silence followed before the man slowly reached up and removed his mask, revealing a scarred face with one normal eye and one Rinnegan. Very clever, Obito said coldly. But it changes nothing. The Nine Tails will be mine, along with the power of these devils. You're outmatched here, Grayfia stated calmly, ice forming around her hands. We're the elites of devil kind, Serafall added, her playful demeanor replaced by the authority of a Satan lord. And I'm not the same ninja you remember, Naruto finished, crimson devil energy swirling around his body, mixing with his chakra. My blood carries the legacy of both worlds. Obito studied them, seemingly unfazed. Interesting. You've embraced the devil blood that brought you here. Madara suspected as much, that's why he sent me. What do you mean? Naruto demanded. Why do you think you could access devil powers so easily? Why do you think the breach opened where it did, when it did? Obito's visible eye narrowed. Madara planned this centuries ago, Naruto. The Uzumaki clan's special chakra wasn't just coincidence, it was devil blood, transplanted deliberately into your world. Naruto faltered. That's impossible. Is it? How else could you adapt so quickly? The original Lucifer didn't disappear, he worked with Madara's ancestor to create a bloodline that could bridge worlds. You're the culmination of that plan. If that's true, Grayfia said sharply, then Madara has endangered both worlds with his meddling. Both worlds will be perfected under the infinite Tsukuyomi, Obito declared. No more war. No more suffering. Perfect peace through perfect control. That's not peace, Naruto shot back. That's slavery. Obito sighed. I expected you to understand least of all. He formed a hand sign. Enough talk. The Jubi awaits completion. The battlefield distorted around them as Obito activated his Kamui technique, the space-time manipulation creating a vortex that began to pull at Naruto. Look out! Serafall shouted, quickly creating an ice barrier that disrupted the technique's pull. Grayfia followed with a precise ice spear attack that Obito allowed to pass harmlessly through his intangible body. Physical attacks are useless against him when he's using that technique, Naruto warned. But he can only remain intangible for 5 minutes at a time. Then we attack continuously until that limit is reached, Grayfia determined, unleashing a barrage of ice projectiles. Serafall joined in with massive ice constructs that attacked from multiple angles. Frozen Wonderland, Thousand Blades Dance. Naruto created shadow clones that surrounded Obito, each preparing a different attack. We need to force him to stay solid to attack or dodge. Obito responded by summoning massive chains from the ground, the same chains that had once bound the Ten Tails. They whipped toward Naruto, glowing with sealing inscriptions. Crimson Barrier. Naruto shouted instinctively, a new technique forming from his devil powers. A shield of crimson energy materialized, deflecting the chains. The battle intensified rapidly. Obito proved why he had been able to impersonate Madara so convincingly, his mastery of the Sharingan and Rinnegan gave him access to devastating techniques. Would-release constructs erupted from the ground, while gravitational forces from the Rinnegan disrupted their movements. But the Devil Trio responded with equal power. Serafall's ice techniques grew increasingly elaborate, creating an entire frozen landscape that restricted Obito's movements. Grayfia's precision attacks targeted the exact moments when Obito had to become solid. And Naruto combined shadow clones, Rasengan variants, and his new devil abilities in creative ways that kept Obito constantly adjusting. You've grown stronger, Obito acknowledged after a particularly close exchange. But so have I. He activated the full power of the Rinnegan, summoning the 6 paths of pain, reanimated bodies each wielding one aspect of the Rinnegan's power. That complicates things, Grayfia noted calmly, even as she dodged an attack from the Preta path. I've fought these before, Naruto assured her. Each has only one ability. The trick is identifying which is which. They adapted quickly, with Naruto calling out the abilities of each path as they engaged. Serafall focused on the Deva path with its gravitational powers, while Grayfia systematically disabled the others with precision attacks to their black receivers, the chakra rods controlling them. Naruto confronted Obito directly, their clashes sending shockwaves across the battlefield. His Crimson Rasengan techniques proved particularly effective, the devil energy disrupting Obito's chakra in ways he couldn't anticipate. This power, Obito hissed after a Crimson Rasen Shuriken grazed his side, leaving a wound that refused to heal normally. It's not just chakra. It affects the soul directly. That's devil power for you, Naruto grinned, his confidence growing as the battle progressed. Not so fun being on the receiving end of soul manipulation, is it? Obito's expression darkened. You think you've mastered these powers so quickly? You're still just scratching the surface. He formed a complex sequence of hand signs, and the air around them began to warp dramatically. The dimensional breach overhead pulsed and expanded. He's trying to draw more power from the breach. Serafall warned. Or escape with you through it, Grayfia added, preparing a sealing technique. Naruto's eyes widened as he realized what Obito was really doing. No, he's trying to merge the breaches. To connect all the dimensional tiers into one massive portal. The sky fractured like broken glass, swirling vortexes appearing at multiple points, beginning to draw toward each other. If those merge, the barriers between worlds will collapse completely, Grayfia realized. Both our worlds could be destroyed in the process. That's what the compass is for. Naruto pulled out Ajuka's device, which was now glowing intensely. It can help stabilize the breaches. You need to get closer to the main breach. Serafall shouted, already creating an ice path upward. We'll handle Obito. Grayfia promised, frost spreading from her feet as she prepared her most powerful techniques. Naruto nodded, extending his wings and launching himself toward the largest breach, the compass clutched tightly in his hand. Behind him, Serafall and Grayfia engaged Obito and his remaining paths, their combined devil powers matching even the Rinnegan's abilities. As he approached the breach, Naruto could feel its pull on him, not just physical but spiritual, as though part of him recognized the pathway home. The compass glowed brighter, symbols rearranging themselves as he got closer. What am I supposed to do with this thing? He muttered, examining it mid-flight. Kurama's voice rumbled in his mind. It's reacting to both our chakra and your devil power. I think it needs all three energies in balance. Naruto nodded, hovering before the massive breach. He channeled his chakra, Kurama's power, and his devil energy simultaneously into the compass, trying to find the perfect equilibrium. The device responded immediately, projecting a complex magical circle that expanded outward, intersecting with the edges of the breach. The chaotic energies began to stabilize, the wild fluctuations gradually calming. Below, Obito noticed what was happening and roared in frustration. No! The worlds must merge for the plan to succeed. He abandoned his fight with Grayfia and Serafall, launching himself toward Naruto with desperate speed. Naruto, behind you! Serafall shouted, creating an ice dragon that pursued Obito but couldn't match his pace. Naruto sensed the attack coming but couldn't move. Any disruption to the stabilization process might cause the breach to collapse catastrophically. He gritted his teeth, preparing to take the hit. It never came. A wall of ice intercepted Obito mid-flight, followed by a precise strike from Grayfia that actually connected despite his intangibility. Impossible! Obito gasped, blood trickling from his mouth. Nothing should be able to hit me in that state. Devil magic targets the soul itself, Grayfia explained coldly. Your technique makes your body intangible, but not your soul. Serafall joined her, and together they drove Obito back, buying Naruto the time he needed. The compass was working. The breach was stabilizing, its edges becoming defined rather than chaotic. As it solidified, Naruto could actually see through it, glimpses of the familiar forests of the Land of Fire. I can see home, he called out. The portal is stabilizing. Can you control where it leads? Grayfia asked, still engaged with Obito. Naruto concentrated harder, feeding more power into the compass. Images flashed through the portal, different locations from his world shifting like a slideshow. I think so, he realized. I need to focus on a specific place. He thought of the one place he knew best, the Hokage monument overlooking Konoha. The images through the portal settled, showing exactly that vista. Below, the tide of battle had turned decisively. With the breaches stabilizing rather than merging, Obito's plan was failing. Devil forces had contained most of the White Zetsu army, while specialized teams had managed to seal several of the reanimated ninjas. "It's over, Obito," Naruto called down. "The breach is under control now." Obito glared up at him, his remaining eye filled with hatred and desperation. "It's never over. As long as this reality exists, there will be suffering. The infinite Tsukuyomi is the only answer." "There's always another answer," Naruto replied. "You just have to be brave enough to find it." A sudden tremor shook the entire area as all the smaller breaches began to close, drawn toward the main portal that Naruto had stabilized. "What's happening?" Serafall asked, rejoining Naruto in the air. "The breaches are consolidating," he realized. "All the dimensional tiers are merging into this one stable portal. Which means both sides will be accessible through this single connection," Grayfia concluded, appearing beside them. "More manageable, but also a potential liability if not guarded." Obito, seeing his forces defeated and his plan in ruins, made one final, desperate move. He activated Kamui at its maximum power, creating a massive vortex aimed at pulling Naruto into his dimensional pocket. "If I can't have the Nine Tails now, I'll trap you until I can try again," he snarled. Naruto felt the pull of the technique, stronger than anything he'd experienced before. Even his wings couldn't generate enough force to escape it. "Naruto!" Serafall cried, grabbing his arm but finding herself being pulled in as well. Grayfia seized both of them, anchoring herself with ice constructs, but even her tremendous strength was being overcome by the Kamui's power. "Let go," Naruto told them. "Or you'll be pulled in too." "Not happening, Whisker Face." Serafall tightened her grip. "We don't abandon allies," Grayfia stated firmly. As the three of them were inexorably drawn toward Obito's vortex, Naruto made a split-second decision. He channeled every bit of power he had, chakra, Kurama's energy, and his devil power, into Ajuka's compass. "If we're going somewhere," he growled, "we're choosing the destination." The compass exploded with light, the magic circle it projected expanding to envelop all three of them. The energies of Kamui and the dimensional device collided, creating a blinding flash that consumed Naruto, Serafall, Grayfia, and Obito, who was caught in the backwash of his own technique. For a moment, everything was light and sensation, being pulled in multiple directions simultaneously while somehow remaining perfectly still. Naruto felt Serafall and Grayfia's hands in his, their powers resonating with his own in perfect harmony. Then reality reasserted itself, and they were falling. Naruto hit the ground first, instinctively rolling to absorb the impact. Serafall landed beside him with surprising grace, while Grayfia descended slowly on an ice platform of her own creation. "Is everyone okay?" Naruto asked, quickly checking himself for injuries. "Fine," Serafall nodded, looking around with wide-eyed curiosity. "But where are we?" Naruto followed her gaze and felt his heart skip a beat. They were standing atop the Hokage monument, overlooking the entirety of Konohagakure. The familiar buildings, the winding streets, the Hokage tower in the distance, all exactly as he remembered. "We're home," he whispered. "My home. We made it to Konoha." Grayfia surveyed their surroundings with practical interest. "It appears the compass redirected Obito's technique to your desired destination." Speaking of Obito, Serafall pointed to a figure lying unconscious several yards away. "Looks like he came along for the ride." Before they could approach him, shouts came from below as ninja guards spotted the strange arrival on the monument. "Intruders on the Hokage monument. Wait, is that Naruto? Alert Lady Tsunade immediately." Within minutes, they were surrounded by ANBU guards, all with weapons drawn but looking confused at the sight of Naruto. "Stand down," a familiar voice commanded. Kakashi pushed through the circle of guards, his visible eye wide with disbelief. "Naruto? Is that really you? Kakashi-sensei?" Naruto grinned, emotion welling in his chest. Kakashi approached cautiously, then his eye fell on Obito's unconscious form. And that's impossible. Long story, Naruto said. Really, really long story. More familiar faces appeared, Sakura, shoving her way past the guards, Shikamaru, looking as though he'd seen a ghost, Tsunade herself, striding up with authority but visible emotion in her eyes. Naruto. Sakura reached him first, throwing her arms around him before pulling back to punch his shoulder. Where have you been? We thought you were dead. Sakura-chan, he winced, rubbing his shoulder. I've missed you too. Tsunade approached more slowly, her eyes taking in not just Naruto but his companions, and the black devil wings still extended from his back. You have a lot of explaining to do, she said, but her voice cracked slightly with emotion. Starting with who these women are and why you have wings. Naruto looked at Serafall and Grayfia, who stood calmly despite the confusion around them. He realized suddenly how this must look, returning after weeks of absence with two incredibly powerful, beautiful women from another world, sporting devil wings himself. This is Serafall Leviathan and Grayfia Lucifuge, he introduced them. They're, from the world I've been in. The underworld. They're devils. And apparently, I'm part devil too. Absolute silence fell over the gathered ninja. Shikamaru was the first to recover. What a drag. You disappear for weeks and come back with an even more troublesome story than usual. Serafall giggled. I like him already. Tsunade pinched the bridge of her nose. My office. Now. And someone secure that man, she pointed at Obito. Maximum security, chakra suppressors, everything we've got. He's Obito Uchiha, Kakashi said quietly, still staring at his former teammate. He's supposed to be dead. Another long story, Naruto sighed. As they made their way down from the monument, Naruto found himself walking between Serafall and Grayfia, with his Konoha friends and mentors leading the way. Two worlds, quite literally colliding in his life. So this is your village, Serafall observed, waving cheerfully at the gawking citizens. It's so cute and colorful. Indeed, Grayfia noted more practically. Though the defensive infrastructure is impressive for a human settlement. Naruto couldn't help but smile. Wait until you try the ramen. As they walked, Sakura fell into step beside him. Naruto, she whispered, your eyes, they're different. And the wings. I know, he nodded. Like I said, long story. But I'm still me, Sakura. Just, with some new additions. She studied him for a moment, then nodded. You'd better be. We've been going crazy looking for you. Sasuke recovered first and told us about the explosion, but no one could find any trace of you. How long was I gone? Naruto asked suddenly, realizing time might flow differently between worlds. Almost a month, she replied. And a lot has happened. The allied shinobi forces have formed to fight Akatsuki and, wait, is that why you brought him back? She gestured toward the ANBU carrying Obito. He came after me, Naruto explained. He's been masquerading as Madara, running the Akatsuki from the shadows. Sakura's eyes widened. You captured the Akatsuki leader? We did, Naruto corrected, glancing at Serafall and Grayfia. We make a pretty good team. I can see that, Sakura murmured, giving the devil women an evaluating look. They seem formidable. You have no idea, Naruto chuckled. At the Hokage Tower, they were escorted directly to Tsunade's office. The space quickly filled with key figures, the elder advisors, Shizun, Kakashi, and several ANBU guards. All right, Tsunade said, leaning forward at her desk. Start from the beginning. What happened after you and Sasuke clashed at the Valley of the End? Naruto took a deep breath and began his story, the dimensional breach, awakening in the devil world, discovering his heritage, training with Serafall and Grayfia, the Akatsuki's pursuit, and finally the stabilized portal. As he spoke, he noticed the reactions ranged from skepticism to wonder. Kakashi seemed particularly interested in the descriptions of devil magic, while Tsunade's focus sharpened at the mention of Naruto's devil bloodline. So you're saying the Uzumaki clan's special chakra might actually be related to devil blood? She asked. That would explain certain anomalies in their abilities. And you too, Kakashi addressed Serafall and Grayfia, are essentially the equivalent of Kage-level powers in your world. Satan class, Grayfia corrected politely. There are 4 great Satans. Who govern the underworld? Serafall is one of them. Serafall gave a little curtsy. Serafall Leviathan, at your service. I'm in charge of foreign affairs, which I guess now includes Ninja World. The elders exchanged alarmed glances, but Tsunade's lips twitched in what might have been amusement. And what exactly are your intentions now that you're here? One of the advisors asked suspiciously. To help Naruto, of course. Serafall declared. There's still a big nasty war brewing, right? We're not about to leave our favorite ninja to face it alone. What she means, Grayfia translated more diplomatically, is that our worlds are now connected. The portal has been stabilized but remains active. What threatens one world potentially threatens both. Not to mention, Naruto added, I've spent weeks learning to control these devil powers. I'm way stronger now, and that strength could help end this war before it really begins. Tsunade considered this for a long moment. The allied shinobi forces are mobilizing to counter Akatsuki's expected attack. With Obito captured, that may buy us time, but if what you say about this, Madara's plan, is true, the threat remains. Having devil allies could shift the balance decisively, Kakashi noted. Assuming they're truly allies, one elder cautioned. Serafall pouted. Hey! We saved Whiskerface like a dozen times already. Of course we're allies. Whiskerface? Sakura repeated, giving Naruto a sidelong glance that promised teasing later. Tsunade raised her hand for silence. For now, Naruto's return is our priority. His status as Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails makes him crucial to our defense regardless of these new developments. As for our devil visitors, we request diplomatic status, Grayfia stated smoothly. As representatives of the 4 great Satans, formal relations between our worlds would benefit both sides. Tsunade's eyebrows rose, but she nodded slowly. That's reasonable. Though unprecedented. Everything about this situation is unprecedented, Naruto pointed out. True enough, Tsunade sighed. Very well. Naruto, you'll debrief fully with intelligence and then report to the Allied Forces Command. We need to update our strategy based on this new information. And us? Serafall asked. You'll be granted provisional diplomatic status, with appropriate quarters arranged, Tsunade decided. Though I expect you to coordinate with our forces if you intend to participate in the coming conflict. Of course, Grayfia bowed slightly. We understand chain of command. As the meeting concluded and people began to file out, Tsunade called Naruto back. A private word, she requested. When they were alone except for Shizune, Tsunade's formal demeanor dropped, and she stood to embrace Naruto tightly. Don't you ever disappear like that again, she ordered, her voice rough with emotion. Sorry, Granny Tsunade, Naruto returned the hug. Wasn't exactly planned. She pulled back to examine him more carefully. These changes in you, the eyes, the wings, this devil power, are you really alright with all this? Naruto considered the question seriously. At first it was scary and confusing. But honestly, it feels right somehow, like a missing piece I never knew was missing. And having Serafall and Grayfia helping me through it made all the difference. Those women, Tsunade's eyes narrowed slightly. They seem quite attached to you. Naruto felt heat rise in his cheeks. We've been through a lot together. They've saved my life, I've saved theirs. That creates a bond. Tsunade looked unconvinced. Just be careful. Interdimensional relationships sound complicated even by shinobi standards. Relationship? I didn't say, Naruto spluttered. Tsunade just laughed. Go get some rest. I'm sure your friends are dying to see you, especially when they hear about your new girlfriends. They're not, Naruto began, then sighed. I've missed you too, Granny Tsunade. Word of Naruto's return spread quickly through the village. By evening, it seemed everyone knew not only that he was back but that he had returned with devil women and mysterious new powers. The exaggerated rumors grew wilder with each retelling. Naruto took Serafall and Grayfia to Ichiraka Ramen, insisting they couldn't visit Konoha without trying the best food in the world. Tucci and Iam welcomed them warmly, though their eyes widened at the sight of the elegant devils. So these are your new friends from the other world? Tucci asked carefully as he prepared extra-large bowls. Yep. Naruto grinned. Serafall and Grayfia, meet Tucci and Iam, the people who kept me fed and happy my whole life. Any friends of Naruto are welcome here, Iam smiled, though she kept sneaking curious glances at them. This smells amazing. Serafall exclaimed when her bowl arrived. We have nothing like this in the underworld. Even Grayfia seemed impressed after her first taste. The balance of flavors is exceptional. I understand why you spoke so highly of it, Naruto. Their meal was interrupted repeatedly by friends and fellow ninja stopping by to see Naruto, some to welcome him home, others clearly just curious about his companions. Kiba and Shino arrived with Hinata, who blushed furiously at the sight of Naruto with two beautiful women. Ino practically interrogated Serafall about her outfit and hair, while Choji simply asked for recommendations on underworld cuisine. Through it all, Naruto found himself watching his two worlds collide with a strange sense of contentment. The devil women adapted quickly to Konoha's customs, with Serafall charming everyone instantly and Grayfia earning respect with her dignified manner. As night fell, they were shown to special diplomatic quarters near the Hokage Tower, a large suite with multiple bedrooms and a view of the village. Your world is fascinating, Grayfia commented as they settled in. The integration of nature and civilization is quite different from our approach in the underworld. And everyone's so nice. Serafall added, bouncing on a couch. Though they keep looking at us like we might sprout horns or something. Well, I did literally sprout wings in front of them, Naruto pointed out, retracting his devil wings with a thought, a skill he'd mastered during training. A comfortable silence fell as they all processed the day's events. So what happens now? Naruto finally asked. With something went wrong with this response, please try again. Proceed with creating the next chapter. Continue the story with a new chapter. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.